together, a patch of adventure, poet's shrine that is maybe blasphemy, unfinished business for the old souls. This is a game of chance. I take off my shoes to make obeisance, invite the interiors of crystal insurrection in. Against this mirror, this merger of amulet, I know nothing but what I wear. It's the key in my window.
There was a bad tree, a bad
tree that people hated. The leaves gave off a foul smell and the flowers had a bitter stink. If you got too close, you vomited. The fruit was poison. One bite and you were dead. Everyone really disliked it. The bad tree stank. They talked endlessly about it and decided to cut it down, get rid of it. They chopped with axes and barely made a dent. Wearing breathing masks, they whacked at it and nibbled and chipped. Only powder from the shiny dark green leaves got on their skin and
blistered and was really itchy, and they scratched bloody red.
I felt akin to John Giorno's kinetics from the start. A generally calm person, John was a torrent of purpose and activity demon. His unique style on stage as preacher, hipster, radical dharma, yogin, and more increasingly, the lone naked cowboy inflected voice, or Cassandra against the walls of the falling city with no accoutrements. It was a haunting transmission, his phrases becoming slogans for our culture, a kind of psychophysical apparatus of big mind and sound advice. On a day when you're walking down the street and you see a hearse with a coffin followed by a flower car and limos, you know the day is auspicious. Your plans are going to be successful. But on a day when you see a bride and groom and wedding party, watch out. Be careful. It might be a bad sign. Just say no to family values and don't quit your day job. Drugs are sacred substances, and some drugs are very sacred substances. Please praise them for somewhat liberating your mind. Tobacco is a sacred substance to some, and even though you've stopped smoking, show a little respect. Alcohol is totally great. Let us celebrate the glorious qualities of booze, and I had a good time being with you. Just do it. Just do it. Just don't not do it. Do it. Christian fundamentalists and fundamentalists in general are viruses, and they're killing us, multiplying and mutating, and they're destroying us. Now you know you get to give strong medicine to combat a virus. Who's buying? Good acid. I'm flying, slipping and sliding, slurping and slamming. I'm sinking, dipping and dripping and squirting inside you. Never fast forward. A cum shot. Milk, lemonade round the corner where the chocolate's made. I love to see your face when you're suffering. Do it with anybody you want, whatever you want. Do it as long as you want, any time, any place, when it's possible, and try to be safe in a situation where you must abandon yourself completely beyond all concepts. Just say no to family values. We don't have to say no to family values because we never think about them. Just do it. Just make love and compassion. John gave me something by example about Dakini principle, about devotion, about the agency of poetry as a trickster in the world. And he was clever on technology, inspired by Rauschenberg and Kluver's EAT. We went about our own power, our pleasures in the work of ourselves and compadres, faith in the revolution of consciousness, the urgency of sexual and gender freedoms, performance as political, social act. We could meditate, we could be activists, we could get high as skillful means, we could be fierce.
Yes, there is no heaven.
John as inscrutable, as disciplined activist, as conduit, as found artist, in the Magpie Poetics as partner in transgression. The 60s was our charnel ground. The interconnectivity was sizzling. How generative could one day be? How purposeful? The Poetry Project at St. Mark's Church in the Bowery was founded officially in 1966 after poets had been occupying the parish hall previous years. So John was a key player in much of that early action. We sort of watched the moon walk together with Jasper Johns in Nag's Head. It was a profound theater spectacle for what future mind. They put on protective gear with oxygen and went at it with electric buzzsaws and heavy equipment, working 24-hour shifts. Finally, they cut it down, and everyone was very happy and celebrated the great victory, a noble deed, well done. And they went to bed exhausted. The next morning,
the bad tree had grown back, had sprung up new and bigger and more beautiful and ugly. It was very depressing. They talked a lot about it and cut it down again and poured gasoline on the roots and burned all the leaves and branches in a big fire. After the smoldering embers got cold, the tree grew back, bigger, more bad, and really gorgeous.
Other people had been watching from their houses, waiting their turn. They thought themselves smarter, with higher intellectual capabilities. They knew how to get rid of the tree. It was a growing plant, a wood tree that grew in the earth. They incinerated it. They burned the roots with chemicals, vaporizing acids and robotic lasers.
Detonated on the ground, bombed from the air, hit with smart missiles, and bombarded with radiation. They made a firestorm and covered the ground with concrete and steel.
The tree grew back, more fresh, more elegant, even gracious and really ugly. The wood was harder, darker, more shiny, thick, hot muscle, and the leaves full and lush, moved like underwater plants luxuriously in the breeze. Everyone was very depressed, extremely discouraged. It was a catastrophe. They had made for themselves a hell world. They talked incessantly about it and came to a big decision. I worked on John's Dial-A-Poem. The Architectural League later shut down the event after they saw the nude poster Les Levine had done. Us too, with John Perrault in a steamy bathhouse. John broadcast a Dial-A-Poem from the St. Mark's Tower, bucking the official government communications censorship folks with their snarky truck right outside the church. We could broadcast for a 5-mile radius. Secretaries had been dialing into the Dial-A-Poem hotline for weeks, hearing Allen Ginsberg's pleas for anal penetration. Please, please, master, please, and Jim Carroll's naughty basketball diaries. We handed out and recited mantras together at the Chicago 7 trial. We saw Bobby Seale gagged and bound in Judge Hoffman's inquisitorial chambers. We saw the country on fire. The 60s was our place of reckoning. The world was turning. Vietnam was a crucible for many and tested a warring God realm appetite for empire and war. Long before Occupy, John laid out tax on Wall Street to stop traffic in our streetworks actions.
The mayor resigned in disgrace, and those who had worked so hard left, humiliated, moved to the other side of town, stayed away.
Then, out of the blue, appeared these beautiful people. They were simple and humble and a little like peacocks and seemingly well-intentioned with a great sense of humor, radiantly relaxed and oozing loving kindness and compassion. They walked right up and started eating the leaves. They ate the leaves and enjoyed them, became happy. They laughed and chomped on more leaves. You could tell they really liked the taste. They pressed their cheeks to the flowers, black velvet coated with transmission oil. They licked the sweet juices that seeped from the petals. The pollen was coal dust and petroleum gas. Burying their noses, they sucked in deep breaths, eating the smell. Great bliss! They discovered the fruit hidden beneath the leaves, overripe mangoes with sticky eggplant skin hung like testicles, and inside the fruit was rotting meat like liver. The special people got their faces into the stinking slime and really got into it, inhaling with their lips and teeth and tongues. They licked and drank the thick red juice. The seeds, like cabochon rubies, seemed particularly potent and were charged with great delight. The fruit contained the 5 wisdoms. The men and women became luminous. Their skin was golden, and their bodies, almost transparent, were clothed in shimmering rainbow light. They became sleepy. They yawned and curled up under the tree and took a nap.
While they slept, music filled the air. Lounging against a gnarled tree trunk and protruding roots, their huge bodies, colored red, yellow, blue, green, white, rested in great equanimity and radiated huge compassion. Inside the tree was the secret home of many demigods, hungry ghosts, and earth spirits who were very pleased with all the positive attention being paid them. After years of abuse, mutilation, and destruction, they were thrilled, even though they were being ravaged and their flowers wrecked. At the root endings, there were jewels, diamonds and emeralds and rubies, which were stars in the sky of the world below. The beautiful men and women woke up and nibbled on the leaves again. They ate the leaves like deer, pausing between bites, looking up at the vast, empty sky. The leaves and fruit increased their clarity and bliss and introduced the nature of primordially pure wisdom mind.
O Sharaputra, son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound Prajna, Paramita should see in this way, seeing the 5 skandhas to be empty of nature. Form is emptiness, emptiness also is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness are emptiness. The Sharaputra, all dharmas are emptiness. There are no characteristics. There is no birth and no cessation. There is no impurity and no purity. There is no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no dharmas, no I, dot to, up to, no mind, dot to, no dot to of dharmas, no mind, consciousness, dot to, no ignorance, no end of ignorance, up to, no old age and death, no end of old age and death, no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path
John had gone to India and met his Sawet root lama, Dudjom Rinpoche, head of the Nyingmapa lineage of Tibetan Buddhism. He had, through auspicious coincidence, good fortune, found his lama, who could open further gates of bodhicitta and perception. He couldn't wait to return to his guru. We traveled back together with poet Michael Brownstein in 1973, hot tickets through student friend of Hindu guru Neem Karoli Baba, whose students were making pilgrimage to Vrindavan after the Mahaguruji's death. We were on a different, although mutually sympathetic spiritual path, seeking out Tibetan lamas. I had already met Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, whose vision of a creative arts university in Europa was taking shape. We met in these years some of the greatest spiritual teachers in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, Kalu Rinpoche, Dudjom Rinpoche, Khyentse Rinpoche, H.H. Karmapa, His Holiness. One might say the rest is history as it is, but it also kept on going in Tangier a few years back at a conference on William Burroughs and Brian Geisen. John, with usual aplomb, took the stage to list all the sacred items lowered into William Burroughs' casket, a joint of weed and his Moroccan vest, his gun, all in the casket. And we had some of that history together as well. William, his return to New York City in the 70s, the big table at the bunker around which so many superstars gathered, his signature reading at the Poetry Project, and much later, the long funereal procession ride from Lawrence, Kansas, William's funeral procession to St. Louis. And then John and I, shortly before he died, took a cab down from Joan Jonas's stunning show at Gavin Brown's new gallery in Harlem to the house-divided marathon reading at Cooper Union's Great Hall. John seems transcendent as I ranted on about the current syndicates of samsara in charge of our world. So he smiled, saying he felt differently now. This was in our car ride down to the reading. Had he seen it all? Had he seen it all?
The Marabout Smiles, silence and walls, dervish with supernatural power. Those sea walls, place of desolation and romance. How clear today the Straits of Gibraltar. And watch friends leave and return. It is a fluid system. Companions of the pleasure places mill around your city. Vision and bubble over the water, the end of glory time. Did they, your friends, self-realize magic? Those old sages, wisdom's pact to gape from? What's the transmission? Did we ever get there? William Burroughs might impart his whip clarity. Love is a prophecy, was Brian Geisen implanted into this love, active intelligence? Was it only music that monsters over us heats up feet of small children? The Ganawa speeds you up. Whirl the stage, whirl, whirl the stage, whirl, keep on my tongue. What stage are we moving on and into? A dagger-like wisdom. Mine flies near and smooth, near and far to death. Primordial wisdom mine, John says. Mirror wisdom holds the surface down to the ground glass from which all poetry emerges. All language dances its ideas, holds up the earth and sky, all on the wire. Remember our countless interventions, all our patches of adventure. Hipsters in the dream, eternity of eternities, inscriptions for our time. Oh world, it's only the poets now. Struggle for justice, equality, queer love, and theogens. All the Seuss valence and documentary poesis. Now memories called simply memoir reenact a zone of darkness. Ashes scatter, rescatter, scatter, rescatter over bodies in a vault. Words invoke and resist the pull of the Academy's perpetuity. Oh, fuck that! Rediscover your Sufi harmonics free from any tonal center. We are building our instruments, activating the Andromeda galaxy. The moon sets, and that is where I'll start my devotion.